Okay, so this is my Indy Lab, and I did it on car modifications, as you can tell by the term speed racer. An Indy Lab about cars and stuff. So this lab is meant to investigate the changes in performance made on a car by modifications, both internal in the mechanics and external in the aerodynamics. And this will be done by using two cars, a 1/64th scale, aka this little cutie right here, and then a 1/16th scale, aka this big Brutus right here. And it actually went so fast and created so much downforce that it broke its rear wing off. Cool. And that was a bad thing. So I couldn't take any more data after that. Actually, I might as well just rip it off right now.
Destroy him.
Okay. So my hypothesis was, if power output is raised, then the drag race times will be different and will be less. But if aerodynamics are changed, made better, then the circuit times will be better. Because I did two race types, a circuit and a drag race.
Better feels subjective. Do you want...
Faster.
Ah. Shorter.
I don't really know anything about cars. So what is what is a circuit and drag race? What's the difference?
A circuit is like what Formula One cars race on.
I don't know what that is.
You know the movie
It's like not-
Cars?
It's like if you were. It's like if you were
I watched
to.
that when I was a child. I'm
Madeline.
not
Can I
gonna.
hear that?
Like
That
Madeline.
race is a straight line. It's just how fast you go in a straight
Oh,
line.
Okay.
for a quarter mile.
Okay.
And then a circuit race is like if you were to race around those two roads.
That's kind of a confusing hypothesis, because like, are you asking that, like, are you measuring power input on drag race times and then aerodynamics on circuit times, or?
Well, turning
How about we get to the data and then
Okay,
you decide? You
Let's
decide.
do that.
Okay. So let's meet the cars. You've already met the cars. We don't need to do that.
What are their names?
Actually, I did name
Like,
them. This one's Christopher,
all right.
and then this one is Gretchen. What?
That's Gretchen Star LeBeau,
What? No way. Oh my god. Oh, okay. I had two videos.
Let's pause it so you can share those with me.
Okay.
Get him!
Okay. So I got two videos here, right?
Yeah.
One's of the car drifting, because I think that's cool, and one's of a crash, because I think that's cool too. So you want to see the drift first or the crash?
The only reason
Harry Fu loved this drift a lot, by the way.
Oh no.
Oh,
no.
Oh no.
Use the mouse.
It's all going to shambles.
No. Go back. Full screen. No. There we go. Okay, so here's the car going down the hallway, and I'm going into the turn. Watch this. I think that was pretty cool. Okay, and then, oh no. It's like a game. And then here's one of it crashing, and it looks really fast. There's Coach Mathis in the background.
The boy. Do it.
That's my shoe. And here it comes, here it comes, here it comes.
Is it gonna take
Oh, okay. It crashed in the end. I'm sure it
You didn't film the crash?
No.
Take his word for it, it did crash.
It actually did. There's a crack in the bottom. Anyways, so we're going to go to some data and visualizations now. Now, I had used a drone in an empty parking lot. You know the Aldi and the Walmart, like the new Aldi and Walmart?
Yeah.
Over by Shrewsbury? And they have like development over there. I asked them if I could use their parking lot. They're like, yeah, sure, we don't have anybody here. So I used the parking lot. Each of these little red dots, it's not actually that vivid red. I had like went in and like said, okay, this is red, that's red. Like there are dots all over here. And they were construction paper cut out into little circles and taped to the ground. And I had a start line. It's not actually that straight. I just put it there to make it easier for you to see. And then this, and then you have a meter for reference right there. You can't really see it, it's right there. And so this is a circuit I did. It's a replica of Silverstone, if you know what that is. If you don't,
I
it's
know what
fine.
that is.
You do?
It's a race.
It's a race.
It's a road.
It's a road, yeah.
Special.
So I had a drone, right? And I had it auto hover right over the center, and then it gave me the elevation, and then I could just do a triangulation to find out the coordinates, the X and Y coordinates of all the data points of the car. And the car actually has a telemetry system in it that connects to your phone or a computer via Bluetooth. So I cross-referenced that data from the telemetry with the position data from the drone to give you a visual of where the car was at any point in time. So here's the first one, first trial. It was 2 minutes and 34.7 seconds, and that's a little bit slower than a Mini Cooper. And that was actually done. That was actually done without the body and without any modifications, just looking like this. You see that?
Yeah.
And then the second one was 2 minutes and 20.4 seconds. And this was with power added. So what I had done is I actually changed the gear ratio in its gearbox, and I had upgraded its motor. And I also put in a faster, I put in a battery with more current to get more power. Yeah?
Did you redo the stripped off race with the changed conditions also?
What do you mean?
What I mean is,
The body.
you probably got better at driving it, right?
Well, I've always been good at driving it. I practiced for about a month before I started driving it on this course.
That means something.
So, like, just to make sure that I, like, hit a plateau of, like, my driving skill. Because I didn't just, like, break this out and start driving it this day. And then it's as fast as the Mercedes-Benz C63 AMG, which I think is pretty cool, because that's a really expensive car. And I want one.
That means nothing to me.
It's
It means a lot
fast
to
as an
me.
expensive car.
All right.
Bill Dean drives it, so.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Moving on. So trial 3, this is actually with the body added on, and the body's not actually that heavy.
Throw the body again. There you go. Yeah.
It weighs about as much as, even less than McDonald's hamburger. So if you eat a lot of hamburgers, you know how much that weighs. So this was with the rear diffuser added, which is these little thingies here, these little flap thingies on the back. And the reason why its butt is so big is because it has a Reynolds number, and you need to make it chunky in order to have any effect. That's why I made it so long. Yeah.
What's the Reynolds number?
So basically, the smaller, like if you have like a model aircraft, like an RC plane, it has different flight characteristics than like a normal size plane. And it's because of its Reynolds number, because relatively it's like 1/300th of the size of a 747. So it will have some kind of exponential decrease of efficiency on the surface as far as lift and stuff. Because you have a smaller surface, but the size of the air molecules are still the same size. Does that make sense?
That's a really good explanation. Air resistance doesn't scale linearly.
So you need to make it a bit more junk in the trunk.
Yeah, it stands for longer ratio.
Literally. Okay, so, and here you can see, actually, here, I'll go back. How do I get back on this? Oh boy.
That's forward.
Okay, so if you look at trial 2 with the increased power, actually, if you look at trial 1, you can see the baseline, like all the curves it takes. And I wish you could see these red dots on the course easier, but you really can't. So this takes pretty tight corners, but if you look at the power, it actually takes wider corners because it has more power and it can't really like get as much grip on the ground, and it's kind of slipping and sliding all over the place. But when I added the diffusers, it started taking tighter corners, but still keeping the same acceleration as it did with the power. So that means like if you take a corner 2 meters closer than you would have without the diffuser, you'll probably throughout the race go 5 seconds faster because you'll be going less distance overall. And then trial 4, this was a big one. This was the front diffuser, and this one is a lot of trouble because with a front diffuser, you can't give it too much effect on the characteristics or else the nose will start going like, it'll start sloshing around like this, and it'll, like a few times it actually like lifted off of the chassis, so I had to really find a good way to reinforce it. Like it would literally go like this, because it'd be like, oh, you want to go this way, but we're going this way a little bit, and then it starts like sloshing around and doing that, and wiggling. So I have to actually drill these holes in the front diffuser to allow it to have some kind of air release. And you can still see that it's taking tighter corners than the original one because it has more downforce and more pressure applied to the ground. And then the rear wing was a huge one. That, like, as you can see, look at the time. Look at the time. With everything but the rear wing, 211.6. With the rear wing, 206.4. That's a huge decrease in time. And that's, again, because of downforce and stuff. But the rear wing did not survive because the car is so powerful. It's creating so much downforce. If I was to say, I'd say it was creating about 3 pounds of downforce just with the wing.
That's a function of speed, right? What speed do you mean?
At top speed.
So, a reason a lot of wings get ripped off, because it's not even an uncommon thing for actual cars for this to happen, is because people don't put them inside wind tunnels like correctly, and they don't like measure them. And so you have to have a certain ratio between front downforce and back downforce. And I'm not sure if you like tested that, because it's going to be really hard for your
Yeah.
situation. But you probably had too much downforce.
I mean,
In the back end,
I
it
had
ripped the
kind
thing
of a
off.
wind tunnel. I literally just made like a box out of wooden sheets, and then I put a leaf blower in the front, and then I made like, you know, the expansion and compression chambers, and then I had like, I made like, it's called a smoker, and you get like a pasta sauce can jar, and then you put a hole in the top, you put some rubber tubing through the hole, and then you burn like, I don't know, like popsicle sticks, and then you put them
see
in
your
there.
smoke with a leaf blower?
Yeah.
No, we couldn't.
If
When we
you
did
have-
our lab last year, we couldn't get the smoke to work.
If you
It just blew
have
fast.
enough smoke, actually, I also found a good tip. You can use, oh, what was it called? It was some kind of thing that they use in like smoke bombs, and like you put it in there. It's like some chemical I bought off Amazon. They come in these little white pellets, and it makes your smoke much denser.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's great.
Did a lot of adventure with smoke bombs.
But I didn't really see.
Much better trying to make colors.
I didn't really see a lot, like with my wind tunnel, it wasn't really that good because it was a box, literally, there was a lot of vortexes created inside of it, so it wasn't really that good of data because literally the box was like the edge, like the ends of the box were like here,
Oh yeah, that's terrible.
way too close. They need to be like over here, over here, over here, and over here. But I just don't have that much money. I'm a struggling artist trying to make it.
Unreal.
Okay,
He's a content creator.
So, this is a relation of modification and time. Now, it's not on a graph. Like you can't really see a curve, but you can see that there is an increase. That there is a decrease in time.
Yeah, it's
based
kind of
off
hard
of
for modifications to have numbers.
modifications.
We could just put them
I
different horizontal things.
I gave them colors so you can see. Can you see? Oh, sorry, Colin.
A bar graph might have been,
Good thing. I thought you were colorblind.
You meant Brad
No, Teddy, you're colorblind.
and Teddy.
Teddy.
Okay, you're the colorblind one. Sorry, I thought you were colorblind.
You're the colorblind one. You.
Good thing Prem's not here. Okay, so as you can see, stock is way up here at 2.35 minutes. I did not just put like, okay, I did not say, this 2.35 is not 2 minutes and 35 seconds, it's literally 2.35 minutes. Just throwing it out there, because I don't want to look stupid. So, this is the stock times, this is the average. So, here's stock, and then there's a huge jump in performance once you get to the power increase, from the stock to the power increase. Like that's a lot. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think I really have to say that. But then there's a smaller increase with the rear diffuser because the rear diffuser doesn't really have much of, well, also because I only put one diffuser on each side. But the rear diffuser does not have that much influence on the car because it's not on the attacking end of the car. Where, like, there's more concentration of air in the front than there is in the back because there's like, it like scatters around the car and then creates vortexes and stuff. But this is just to organize the air coming past the car so it doesn't create a vortex behind it.
What material did you use for the car body and why did you choose it?
I used styrofoam, and my parents really don't like styrofoam because the pellets get everywhere and my dog eats them.
Yeah.
So I had wrapped it in masking tape,
Okay.
and I mean like you can just throw it. It's not that heavy.
Styrofoam seems cumbersome. How did you cut it?
I made my own styrofoam cutter. I made two of them. I made a big dude that's about like this big. You run a current through a nichrome wire. I poked myself with that wire a few times. And then I made a little guy that's handheld, and that's for like the detail work. And again, run current through a nichrome wire, but there was a 9-volt battery and a switch on it, so you could just turn it on and off.
How did you measure the power of your apparatus,
Of what apparatus?
your car?
Oh, I couldn't measure the power with that. There was too much vibration and the.
What are you pointing to?
Oh, here. I need to get a shot. So what I was gonna do originally is I made this rolling road, as you can see here, and I took some bearings from a hard drive, because as you can see that runs really well.
I can't see. Now I can see.
Okay. This is the thing that failed, but because I didn't have enough hard drive bearings. And so that runs really well. And this one runs fine, but not as well as the bearings. So what I wanted to do was put neodymium magnets on these spindles. And then I found this program online where you can just hook up like a normal crappy pair of dollar store headphones into a computer microphone jack, and then it would read every time the magnet pulled on the diaphragm of the headphones.
Lenz's law.
Yeah, Lenz's law. And then it would graph that, like if you knew the mass of the roller and you knew its radius and its length, then you could find its moment of inertia, and then you can find the power output to make it spin at a certain velocity, at a certain speed, RPM. So, but what happened was, I don't have very good of precision instruments at my house. I literally just built this with a skill saw and a hand saw and a Dremel, and that's it. But what happened was there was a lot of vibration in this one, and the magnets kept flying off because its connection to the rod was not as good because I didn't have an epoxy on it or anything. Plus the magnets kept getting attracted to the car because there's metal in there. So they flew off and just wouldn't stay still. There was a lot of vibration. But it makes a really cool sound if you drive the car on it. It goes.
That's very satisfying. You want to wrap it up for us, sir?
Yeah. So here's the telemetry data that I took from the car's telemetry system. It's actually located right here, this little box that also functions as a receiver. And one thing that I did with the car to give better data, make it faster, is I put this hood scoop in it, and I made sure that air flowed right over the receiver / telemetry box and the motor. We both have heat sinks, just to make sure nothing burned. And as you can see here, they're in the final trial, you can see very, very tight corners taken and very, very high accelerations, because in these corners, the black marks, the black sections are very, very high lateral g-force as far as like turning and stuff. In this long curve, there was a huge amount of lateral G's taken over a very long amount of time without any slipping of the car. But in these little blue ones, it had a bit of like a gentler G-force, and that's because the car was going too fast and it needed to slow down. Or you can basically take that as these black sections are the sections of highest performance of the car. And then here's the drag racing data.
Oh, this is much less subjective to driver skill. I like this. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
So literally, I just set the car up, far side of the hallway, and then I stood right over there at the entrance of the dome. That's to scale to 1/16 scale. That is a quarter mile. So what I did was, this is for the big car. The little car wouldn't have been able to do that distance, so I did a shorter distance, and I only did internal modifications of this. I only added a much higher performance motor to this one. So, and I put a LiPo battery in that one. So stock, it ran 10s. It ran 10s. Those are great quarter mile times. That's like the speed of a Porsche, pretty much. Yeah.
What are those various lines?
What do you mean?
Why are there 5 lines?
Here.
Yes.
Here. Oh, these are just trials.
Okay, you should note that next time.
Okay, these are trials. So, as you can see, the times for the stock, 10.84, is much higher than the time for the power increase, which is 10.12 seconds. And that's a big decrease in time. That's what, 60 something seconds. Yeah.
I think it would be cleaner to present those as average velocities because there's an inverse that's being taken here, so I can't see what the cleaner effect is.
Yeah, that I should have done that. And then the rear diffuser, again, less time on the straight. And then the front diffuser, much less time on the straight. And I think that's because the car was squatting. Like there's something that happens with all cars, even electric cars, where when they accelerate off a line, they do this thing where they squat, like here, I'll show you. They do this thing where the front, where it's really hard to explain, where the back of the car is pushed down on and it accelerates like this.
Why?
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 I actually don't know why.
There are 2 torques?
Yeah.
What are
there's
the
a
2
lot of
torques?
So there's the front, there's a forward torque,
Where does that act?
on the wheels,
Where on the car exactly?
on the front.
The front of the car?
Yeah, it's going like this.
No, where does the torque from the road act?
Oh, on the wheels.
But where?
I don't know. On the axles?
On the axles or on the bottom?
On the bottom. Axles, probably, because that's where it's rotating.
On the axle.
Yeah.
The torque acts on the axle.
Yes, but then you have a lot more torques to think about because you got the suspension.
Well, we can neglect the suspension, because suspension or not, they're going to lean.
Well, anyways, that is why drag race cars have those big, huge wheels in the back and little wheels in the front, and they're kind of like stanced like this. Because when they squat, they go like that. And that's to take away any kind of back flipping that you'll do.
What's the other torque?
The other torque?
Yeah, why don't they just flip over when they start to accelerate?
Well, because there's a torque from the engine.
No.
What?
The other torque on the car begins to rotate, right? The car shifts backwards.
Yeah.
That means that there are some torques.
Well, the wheels are creating a forward torque.
Right. Why don't all cars, when they accelerate, just flip over backwards? This is a really practical question because you get into cars and you
gravity.
accelerate. Gravity, that's the other torque. Very good.
Yeah. Anyways, back on topic.
Sure, get going. Finish us up here.
So here's the relation of modification in time for the drag racing of the big car, and it takes a pretty much linear relationship. Here.
Is that a fit over trial numbers?
What?
What? Is that a linear fit that you put on there?
Yeah.
Over trial numbers?
Why, you do not like that?
No!
No, that's not a fit of, okay, that's not a fit of the data, that's just, I don't know why I put that there. It's supposed to be a visual of how much the performance changes per trial.
But it shouldn't!
I know. That was a bad decision.
Okay.
Okay.
Mistakes were made.
And as you can see here, as you can see here, I did the same like stock, power, rear diffuser, front diffuser for the drag racing, but the drag racing, if you remember, the distance between the stock and the power increase modifications on the circuit racing was much, much greater than it is on the drag racing. And I don't know why. I literally cannot tell you why that is, because if you take a car with a small engine and then you put a huge engine in that car, it should have, especially in a drag race, a huge increase in performance. But I think so here's the conclusion. The car was fun, very fun. It crashed multiple times, once by Prem. He drove it into your desk and the body cracked, had to fix
Super.
it. But it seemed to hold up pretty well, except for that one instance. I learned not to let punk kids drive your car, especially Prem. He's bad at driving cars. If you could do this lab again, if I could do this lab again, I'd use a wind tunnel, a better wind tunnel, to find the best aerodynamic configuration, i.e., as Ian said, the ratio between the body and the rear wing, and making sure it doesn't fly off. The car wasn't very wobbly, and it handled very well. I could conclude that aerodynamic modifications are more effective than power modifications. But more power is always more fun.
Thank you.